Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. And unfortunately, it is not a happy one this time because it is the game review podcast of the Parramatta Eels, who took on the Melbourne Storm down in Melbourne at Amy Park yesterday. And it was not the result that many Para fans were hoping for, but some of them did predict that. But with Mitchell Moses being out, that is for sure. But I don't even think that Mitchell Moses could have saved Parramatta yesterday, as the Melbourne Storm won the game 56 points to 18. They absolutely went on a rampage nice and early on in the game, particularly from that 21st minute when Xavier Coates scored the first of his two tries. Basically, it was a try after that to Eli Katoa. Xavier scored his second try 5 minutes after that. Harry Grant scored a try in the 30th minute, 4 minutes after Xavier's try. Then Nick Meaney, another 4 minutes after that one. And then a devastating, the damage was already done there, but another blow to Parramatta. Ryan Pappenhausen scoring his second try of the match right on half-time in the 39th minute, and it was 46 points to 6 at half-time. Absolutely unbelievable. As I said, that damage was done from the 21st minute all the way to half-time. Those quick tries there. It ended up being 10 tries to 3. An absolute demolition of the Parramatta Eels, and certainly not the start of the season that the Eels had hoped for. Look, they knew it was going to be tough going down to Melbourne and trying to beat the streak and get the victory, and especially with Mitchell Moses out. Now, as I said before, even with Mitchell in the team, I don't think they could have got the win. It would have been really tough. Just the way that the Melbourne Storm played yesterday. They were on fire, they were in the zone, and they were showing why they are premiership favourites to take out the comp in 2025. Now, as I said, it was 56 points to 18, and look, there is that old adage of that no team has won the competition after conceding 50 points in a match. Already in season 2025, we have seen two teams, the Roosters and the Parramatta Eels, concede 50 points. So, look, I am a big believer of records meant to be broken, but I don't think these records or these two sides will break those records. Look, I'm happily. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm happily to be wrong and Parramatta win the competition, obviously, most definitely. But records have shown that any team that concedes 50 points is not going to win the competition. So, and by the Melbourne Storm scoring 56 points, it just shows you that they are competition favourites this season. Now, I do believe that I did hear a stat, I'm not 100% sure, and you might be able to relay this back to me, but I think it was the highest ever halftime score in a game of rugby league, certainly in the NRL. But yeah, 46 points to 6, that was unbelievable score line at halftime. Thankfully, Parramatta, I guess they did end up winning the second half, and showed a little bit more improvement in that second half. But there still is a lot of work to do, especially in defence, and I guess that will be a major training aspect this week at training. It will be the defence, because some of those tackles that were missed, and if you look at the stats, there was there was 41 missed tackles from Parramatta compared to 14 of the Melbourne Storm. So you just cannot make you cannot win rugby league games with missed tackles. Obviously, there was the one intercept as well. Look, probably maybe a little bit of inexperience from Isaiah Iongi. He was the one who threw the pass. It was looking to go out to Sean Russell, I think it was on the wing there, bypassing Will Penasini and Will Warbrick. He got the intercept and ran the length of the field and scored. Now, look, one positive I guess you could take out of that is the fact Riley Smith, he basically ran his heart out to try and tackle Will, but obviously a winger and a hooker, there's no contest there, but he was determined to try and get him. He didn't get that one. Zach Lomax was trying in vain to hunt him down and tackle him, but it just shows you that a debutant in this game, who I actually thought was probably the player of the match from a Parramatta perspective, did in the game. He looked very good when he came onto the field for Brendan Hands. He did play a long time in this game. He actually had 53 minutes in this game, so that was something that was very pleasing to see. 53 minutes. I did not expect him to get that much time in this game. I thought he would have got less. Brendan Hands, the starting hooker, got 27 minutes. I just thought that he would have got less than that, to be honest, but only the 3 runs for 14 metres, but I guess it was his defence that was probably the thing that really impressed as well. And also, as I mentioned before, just the chase down of Will Warbrick as well. Look, he could have easily given up there, but he wanted to try and show that he was, the effort was there, and he obviously didn't tackle Will, but just showed you that he was chasing him down. 26 tackles for Riley in an impressive debut game. 2 missed tackles as well, 3 ineffective ones. He did have 1 kick as well, which I thought at the time was a good option, and something that is in his game. And something I'm looking forward to seeing throughout season 2025. I think he will maintain his spot on the bench in that number 14 jumper. I think probably in this early stage of his career, I think he will be on the bench. A lot of people are saying maybe he should start the game, but I just think that's probably not the best at the moment. I think he has a real impact when he comes onto the field. Maybe when the other team's forwards are a little bit tired, he can get those runs out of dummy half maybe. He does have that kicking game as well, but a very impressive debut for Riley Smith, so well done to you, sir. I think the second player who I thought was got the 2 points in my eyes was Isaiah Iongi, another very impressive club debut, having played for Penrith last year in the NRL. Did score a try in his club debut, so well done there. It was probably a consolation try. Look, 24 runs, 178 metres. He did look dangerous in attack as well. Unfortunately for that pass to Will Warbrick, the intercept try, but he did look effective as well. And look, he will only grow in confidence as well as the games go on as well. So only his second NRL game, so very impressive there from him. And I think the player who I gave 1 point was Will Penasini. Did score a try as well. 16 runs, 182 metres. Playing on the other side of the field, I think where he is not used to playing. was certainly different with the arrival of Zach Lomax to the club and playing centre. So I think it was an impressive game from Will. Would like to see him get a little bit more involved, but nevertheless, there wasn't too many standouts for the Eels yesterday. Jermaine Hopgood as well played 72 minutes, I should say, of the game. He was probably impressive as well, 37 tackles as well. We all know Jermaine and what he can do. Of the other new recruits, Jack Williams unfortunately had to go off for a HIA early on in the game. Fortunately, he did pass that. Made a good break there in the second half, which he then passed the ball. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was to, but that was certainly a good run there. Ronald Volkman, he was thrown in, I guess you could say, well, sort of at the end, early on in the week with Mitchell Moses going down. Dean Hawkins, our other new recruit, obviously injured as well, so had to get a special dispensation from the NRL to play in this game because he's on a train and trial deal, which I think is round 10 or 11 that these players cannot play for until then, but the NRL allowed Ronald Volkman to play. Now, look, he had a great game in Newcastle in the trial. That was a few weeks ago now. But, look, just really, I think, look, to be honest, it's his first NRL game in a long time. And, look, it wasn't too bad. 16 kicks, 446 metres. The thing that I think was probably, I guess you could say, lacking a little bit was his kick selection. I thought sometimes there could have been a kick along the ground into the in-goal to, try and force a repeat set. It did get 2 forced dropouts, which was good. I just think sometimes those kicks could have been done in a better way. Look, I'm no rugby league expert. I'm definitely not a kicking expert, so I could be completely wrong. But that was just my guess as a fan as to what could have been done at certain times, but it wasn't to be. The kick just seemed to go to the man all the time, and in my opinion as well, when he did put up the high kicks, he obviously doesn't kick it as high as Mitchell Moses does, so it doesn't necessarily give the chasers a long time to get down there. So different player to Mitchell, obviously, but look, the one man that I thought probably was disappointing, and I think he will probably himself think he had a disappointing game, as he usually loves playing against Melbourne and usually has a great game playing against Melbourne, and that is Dylan Brown. Look, a lot of pressure has gone on to Dylan Brown, especially with all the talk in the off-season and the pre-season about his contract and his offer from Newcastle, the $1.3 million a season for 10 years, $13 million in total. That must be weighing on his mind. Look, for me, I think maybe the manager is putting more pressure on him by doing these deals and getting this into the news cycles. A lot of pressure was on him going into this game, especially with Mitchell Moses out. But I think this was a chance for him to take control of the game. We have seen in the past when Mitchell has been out, the opportunity for that to happen. We didn't see it last season, unfortunately. We don't necessarily think that Dylan is a game manager like Mitchell Moses. He is a running 5'8", But I think yesterday in this game against Melbourne, we needed to see more of him take control of this game somehow. Even though the Parramatta were getting dominated by the Melbourne Storm team, I think he was the one who needed to step it up and probably, involve himself more in the game. Look, there was a couple of times there where he was playing dummy half. He threw the ball, and look, I think that was just because it was off a kick return and he was back there and the dummy half wasn't back there at that point. But we didn't see many runs from Dylan, unfortunately, which we know he is. Only 8 runs for 61 metres. Look, that's not saying that he did not try, but I just really think he was part of 2 try assists as well. So I think this weekend against the Tigers, I think you'll see a different Dylan Brown. I think he'll back at home at Commbank. I think you'll see him be a different Dylan Brown. He'll want to park that game, and look, I feel sorry for him because there is a lot of pressure on him at the moment with this contract business going on in the background. So the quicker he can get that sorted, whether he is staying at Parramatta or leaving Parramatta, I think it will be the better for Dylan. And if he stays, it'll be the better for the Parramatta Eels team. That is for sure when this contract business is sorted out. Now, from all reports from the Parramatta side of things, they are trying to get this contract drama sorted before the round 10 cutoff. They would love to see it done sooner rather than later. So that is something that they're working on. And as I said, the quicker that is sorted, then for everyone involved, be it both definitely Parramatta and Dylan, the quicker that is sorted, the better for the team and for Dylan. Look, so to go through a few of the other players as well. Look, I just don't think there was many. There was a little bit of disappointment, I thought, in a few of the players. Big Junior, well, not so Big Junior these days, has lost a lot of weight. I was probably a little bit disappointed with his performance. I thought maybe he might have just got back to that power running game. There was a few times there's a bit of ball playing as well, but I would just prefer to see him just take those hit-ups. Just hit it up. If he can, offload it. If he can't, just take the hit-up. That's what I'd like to see Junior do. There's questions of whether he is a starting prop, and they are very good questions, to be honest. I think either him or Joe Ofahengawi can probably be a bench starter. And with Jack Williams, he's played in the front row previously. Maybe he could play front row, and then that opens up a second row spot. So who you put in that second row, I don't know, but that could be an option, and maybe they might have the impact that way in a game. And look, everything that I'm saying is only just from one game, and I think that's what Parramatta fans have to realise as well. It is one game. Yes, it is disappointing that it was 56 points to 18. We wanted to see a lot better effort put in by the side. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But it is only round 1, so thankfully it is in round 1. Hopefully the team and the club and the coach can park that one, learn from it, obviously. Coach Jason Riles said in the press conference there was things that they could take out of the second half, especially little bits here and there, which was obviously good, but it's obviously good to learn as well from that game to ensure that it probably doesn't happen again. Look, it may happen again, and I hope it doesn't, but it may. So let's hope this week against the Tigers it is a completely different result. And look, the other debutant in the side, Sam Chuavate, I thought he was pretty impressive. He was a bit disappointed to come off in the later parts of the game. You could see that disappointment. Played 18 minutes in the game. 5 runs, 47 metres. There was one run there that really took everyone by surprise, and it just shows you the power that he has in his running. That's what I'd like to see Junior do, to be honest. Not saying that I'd want to run at Junior, or not saying that I'd want to have Junior running at me, because I would have no chance at all. He would flatten me. Yeah, very impressive debut from Sam as well. Look, don't forget too, there was, I think, 9 first graders unavailable for this clash, either through injury or suspension as well. And I'm not saying that those players, if they were in this team, could have made Parramatta would have won, but they certainly could have made a difference, I thought, anyway. You know, you have your likes of, obviously, the big one, Mitchell Moses, Josh Addo-Carr, Bailey Simonson. There's just a couple to name there as well. Sean Lane is another one. Ryan Madison, who pulled out late in the week with a back soreness problem. So, look, you have those players out. You have a couple of those players in the team, and the result may be a different one. Am I saying that Parramatta would have won that game if those players were in? Look, it would have been difficult. Maybe they might have, but definitely not in the way that the Melbourne Storm were playing yesterday. They were definitely in a mood. So, Sunday afternoon, hot as hell down in Melbourne, apparently, 35 degrees, which is something very unusual for Melbourne. You don't see those temperatures a lot down there, but it was a hot day down there. I feel sorry for all those Parramatta supporters sitting in the away bay in the heat, especially in the sun. And it was a fast track, and look, the Melbourne Storm, they had a lot of speed in their side. Ryan Pappenhausen, Xavier Coates. Some of those runs that Xavier Coates made from kick returns were just unbelievable. They just it just looked like he was swatting away Parramatta players in defence. But that, as I said, that'll be something that they work on definitely at training during the week. So, look, I think overall, if you have a look at the team stats, possession was 50-50, which was very surprising, to be honest, because especially in that first half, I thought Melbourne had a lot more possession than Parramatta. Obviously, Parramatta clawed it back in the second half. Parramatta had a better completion rate in the game, which was something that I guess is a good result, but and that's what you want when you want to win football games. But that missed tackle count of 41, that is the one that really crushed Parramatta's chances of winning the game. So, where do we go to from here? Well, next week it is the Parramatta Eels taking on the West Tigers at Commbank Stadium on Sunday, at 4:05 p.m. So, look, that'll be a tough clash. The Tigers, they went down to the Newcastle Knights by 2 points. They've got some new recruits and in their side, as most notably Jerome Luai. So, look, they are a new-look Tigers side. I don't think they'll finish last this season. But Api Coruscant will be back this week, so he'll be eager to go and rip in. He loves playing against Parramatta, as we saw when he was playing for Penrith and won that grand final in 2022, about what he said about Parramatta, but that's in the past. Don't worry about that one. But he loves playing against Parramatta, so look, that'll be a great clash. I hope to see many of you out there at Commbank Stadium on Sunday afternoon. And hopefully the review next Monday will be a lot happier and better. Hopefully I'll be talking about a win next Monday in the game review. But look, that's round one. That's done and dusted. Parramatta are 17th on the ladder. The only way is up. Let's get up that ladder with our season start this week against the Tigers on Sunday. So thank you very much for listening to this game review podcast. So I hope you really enjoyed it. Share it with your family and friends if you would like to. That would be most appreciated. And look, I will be back later on in the week with the tipping podcast, as well as a game day review podcast, a game day preview podcast, I should say, with a special guest, and I will also have a interview-based podcast with a very special guest as well. So thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it. The Para K podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para K podcast.